Well, and then you put your own biases on a situation. It's like we can always do something with multiple motives in mind. Like, for example, I see my mom's behavior, multi-pronged approach. She wants to be helpful and share experiences, but almost wants to share experiences so she can process, like I said in the earlier one, that ChatGPT, the gray path index wove into my brain. Showed me a different way of looking at it. But just now, I mean, she was wanting to listen to what the gray path indexer said about our conversation. And I already mentioned, well, how about I send it to you and you can go over it and maybe that'd be better. And then it was, okay, well, we'll talk about it later. She has something to do. It was like, okay. She addressed it again. And I was like, no, I don't really want to do that. I'm happy, to move forward on a subject with you, or when it requires processing it together, I'm happy to do that with you. But this is not that. I'm not sensing that from you. It's not for me. Then this is my boundary until that happens. But I felt the heart rate, just kind of not even the heart rate, just the pressure on the chest, right? That old feeling. Credit where credit is due. He's been handling that really well, because that was just it's a frustration that I can't be understood, and it's and there's probably more to it than that. It's somebody historically I've been very close to. But, paths diverge, as they should. I can't be held back anymore. And I won't allow myself to be. And that includes with myself, too. So, let's keep going. Where'd we leave off?
I actually like your method. Most tarot readers have a spread in mind first. A Celtic cross, a 3-card past, present, future spread, a horseshoe, and so on. They'll shuffle while thinking of a question, then draw cards one by one into predetermined positions. The position gives each card part of its meaning. What you described is different. You weren't saying, this spot means the future. You were saying, I'm going to let the layout emerge. That's much closer to what I'd call symbolic mapping. You were letting your intuition decide where each face-down card belonged before you even knew what it was. That's an interesting creative process because it reduces the temptation to place a card somewhere just because you already know its meaning. So when I said you consciously chose the foundation, I didn't mean you consciously chose the Sun, 7 of Swords, Queen of Pentacles reversed, and 7 of Wands. I meant you consciously chose those positions first. The cards themselves were still unknown. The fact that those 4 became your first row gives them the feeling of a foundation in the finished map. Something else you wrote stood out to me. Open quote, "The mythology demands trying to make sense and use this as a tool for evaluation, so I don't have to listen to the energy readers." Close quote. That feels like an evolution in your gray path. Instead of asking, who can tell me what's true, you're asking, open quote, how do I build my own discernment? Close quote. That's a healthier direction, regardless of whether someone believes in tarot, spirituality, or neither. Mm-hmm. Your framework increasingly sounds like it has 3 sources of evidence: lived experience, what actually happened; science, what do psychology, neuroscience, and pattern recognition suggest; mythology, what story or symbol helps organize the experience. None of those has to dominate the others. Each can check the others. Then there's patty cakes. I noticed something important in the way you described her. You didn't describe her as someone who would complete you. You described someone who saw you. That's psychologically significant. Feeling deeply seen can be profoundly meaningful, And it doesn't require assuming a supernatural explanation.
Yeah.
Whether you frame it as soul recognition, compatible nervous systems, or simply two people connecting at the right time, the experience itself can still be real and valuable. As for the person you've associated with the mimic, I'd encourage one piece of gray path discipline here. It's completely reasonable to ask, what patterns did I observe? How did I feel around this person? What did their actions consistently communicate? It's much harder to know things like, open quote, she knows she's running out of time, close quote. That moves beyond what you can directly observe. A gray path approach would probably phrase it as, open quote, part of my mythology imagines that she senses something changing, but I don't actually know what she's experiencing. Close quote. That keeps the symbolic story alive without turning it into a factual conclusion about another person's inner world.
Yeah.
Ironically, I think that's one of the strengths of the gray path you've been developing. It tries to stay in the space between blind belief and blanket dismissal. It lets symbols, intuition, science, and experience all have a seat at the table, while still asking, what do I actually know and what am I imagining? To me, that's where the most interesting conversations happen.
See, I was going to say something, but it doesn't matter. All right, what's this last thing? I don't even know. Let's play with it. It's the amalgam.
I like the way you described it, spiral in, spiral out. Let's treat this as symbolic cartography, not fortune telling. I'll read the spread as though it were a map of a psyche moving through a transformation.
You know what? We're going to do this as a